Just when the internet thought the Diddy saga couldn't get darker, 50 Cent allegedly kicked the door open and said, "Cool, who's next?" And suddenly, one name started trending in ways billionaires hate to see. Jay-Z. Now let's be clear, this didn't come with a polite press release or a neatly wrapped announcement. This came wrapped in whispers, side eyes, cryptic posts, and a so-called Netflix documentary leak that set timelines on fire. The kind of leak that doesn't confirm anything, but somehow makes everything feel uncomfortable, because when 50 Cent starts circling, history tells us he's not doing it for clout. He does it for chaos, for pressure, for that slow psychological chokehold where everyone starts asking questions nobody wants to answer. And this time, fans are convinced he's aiming higher than ever. The internet went from "wait, what?" to "oh no" in record time. Suddenly, old clips resurfaced, old alliances got re-examined, old rumors got new legs, and people started connecting dots like they were late for a conspiracy meeting. This isn't just rap beef energy. This feels like legacy warfare, the kind that makes the Kardashians look like a comic book club. Because when billion-dollar brands, prison fallout, and alleged Netflix leaks collide, somebody's reputation is about to take damage. 50 Cent doesn't announce attacks. He telegraphs them. He lets the internet notice patterns before he ever confirms intent. And right after the Diddy prison fallout cracked open the industry's illusion of untouchable power, Curtis Jackson allegedly shifted his focus in a way that made a lot of very rich people uncomfortable. Because suddenly, the conversation wasn't just about Diddy anymore. One name kept hovering over timelines like an uninvited guest at a billionaire brunch. Jay-Z. Nothing came with a direct accusation. That's the part that made it dangerous. Instead, there was timing, silence, a few carefully chosen reposts, a caption that read normal to casuals but screamed intention to anyone who understands 50 Cent's playbook. He didn't need to say Jay-Z, the internet said it for him. And once the internet starts saying your name, it doesn't stop. It investigates, it exaggerates, it connects dots that may or may not belong together, then draws conclusions like it's being graded. Old clips resurfaced overnight. Interviews people forgot about suddenly felt prophetic. Quotes that once sounded harmless were replayed with suspicious emphasis. Then came the rumor that detonated everything. A Netflix documentary, allegedly leaked, allegedly connected to the fallout surrounding Diddy, allegedly exposing how the industry really works behind closed doors. No trailer, no official confirmation, just whispers. And somehow, whispers hit harder than press releases. Fans didn't need proof to panic. They needed plausibility. And this felt plausible, because Netflix doesn't touch small stories. Netflix touches narratives, systems, power structures, and the idea that a documentary might peel back the curtain on hip-hop's upper echelon made the Kardashians look like a peaceful knitting club. What made Jay-Z's name stick was symbolism. He isn't just an artist. He's the success story, the exception, the proof that the system can be beaten from the inside. And once a symbol becomes associated with scrutiny, even indirectly, the reaction is explosive. 50 Cent's history made the speculation worse. This is a man who has built a second career exposing, mocking, and applying pressure to powerful figures with surgical precision. He doesn't rant. He nudges. He lets chaos bloom on its own. And right now, chaos was blooming aggressively. Fans started asking why now? Why after Diddy? Why when the industry was already shaken? Why when people were finally questioning how many secrets were protected in plain sight? The timing felt intentional. Even if nothing was confirmed, supporters of Jay-Z rushed to defend him, calling the rumors reckless and irresponsible. They pointed out the lack of evidence, the absence of accusations, the danger of speculation. But even those defenses sounded strained, because they weren't responding to claims. They were responding to discomfort. Meanwhile, 50 Cent fans treated the entire situation like a new season drop. Memes flooded timelines. Posts joked about episode 1 and who's next. The tone wasn't fear, it was anticipation. And anticipation is powerful currency online. Industry figures stayed quiet. That silence became its own headline. No strong denials, no firm confirmations, just distance. And distance, in moments like this, reads as strategy. The alleged Netflix angle changed everything. Because Netflix carries credibility by association. Even the idea of a documentary reframed the conversation from gossip to investigation. Fans started saying things like they wouldn't risk it if there wasn't something there, whether true or not. The perception hardened fast. Jay-Z's legacy suddenly felt heavier, not because of wrongdoing, but because scrutiny had entered the chat. And scrutiny doesn't care about intent. It cares about access, about silence, about proximity. 50 Cent didn't clarify anything. He didn't deny anything. He hovered just close enough to keep the conversation alive. And anyone familiar with his tactics knows that's never accidental. This wasn't a diss. It wasn't a call-out. It was pressure without fingerprints. The kind that makes people reread contracts, revisit old partnerships, and reconsider who they trusted. By the end of the day, the narrative had shifted completely. It wasn't "is this real?" anymore. It was "what happens if it is?" Because Diddy's prison fallout shattered the illusion that power guarantees protection. And once that illusion cracked, fans started looking at everyone differently. Especially the ones who built empires, especially the ones who never seemed to fall. And when 50 Cent allegedly started aiming his spotlight upward, the message felt clear even without words. Once the rumor hit daylight, it didn't walk. It sprinted. The alleged Netflix documentary leak turned timelines into crime boards overnight. Red string energy everywhere. Fans weren't asking for confirmation anymore, they were hunting meaning. And meaning, online, doesn't need facts. It needs vibes. Clips started resurfacing like they were summoned. Old award show moments. Industry handshakes. Interviews that once felt inspirational suddenly got replayed with suspicious pauses. People weren't accusing anyone of anything specific. That's what made it worse. They were wondering. And wondering is the most dangerous verb on the internet. The conversation split instantly. One side called it reckless speculation, a disrespectful attempt to drag legends for engagement. The other side said this is exactly how truths surface quietly, sideways, wrapped in allegedly. Both sides agreed on one thing though. The timing was wild. Memes went feral. One viral post joked that hip-hop was turning into a true crime franchise with too many seasons and not enough disclaimers. Another compared the situation to a reality show reunion where everyone's calm until one producer whispers, "Roll the unseen footage." The humor was loud, but the undertone was anxious, and then came the celebrity side eyes. Not statements, not denials, side eyes. Cryptic posts about letting the truth breathe. Quotes about what's done in the dark, the kind of vague wisdom that never names names but always fuels fires. Nobody wanted to be first. Everybody wanted to be prepared. 50 Cent stayed exactly where he's most dangerous, adjacent. He didn't clarify. He didn't escalate directly. He posted like someone who knew the internet would do the heavy lifting. And it did. Fans analyzed his captions like they were coded messages. Every emoji became evidence. Every pause became intention. Podcasts rushed emergency episodes. Titles screamed about industry reckoning and what this could mean. Careful to stay hypothetical while sounding ominous. YouTube thumbnails went full apocalypse mode. Red arrows, shocked faces, words like leak, exposed, and next, slapped everywhere. The Netflix angle refused to die. That's because Netflix isn't perceived as messy. It's perceived as methodical, investigative, long form. So even the idea of involvement reframed the conversation. Fans started saying things like, "If this is real, it's not about one person." That sentence alone sent shivers through comment sections. Public outrage didn't explode, it simmered. And simmering outrage lasts longer. People weren't canceling anyone. They were re-evaluating everything. Who benefited? Who stayed silent? Who moved up when others fell? It became less about guilt and more about proximity. Jay-Z's name continued trending. Not because of accusations, but because of association. And association is sticky. Supporters flooded timelines reminding everyone that rumors aren't facts and legacies shouldn't be dragged through speculation. Critics replied that history doesn't always announce itself cleanly. The wildest part, nobody actually knew what the alleged documentary contained. Some said it focused on Diddy. Others claimed it examined industry power dynamics broadly. A few insisted it was about gatekeepers. Each version added new fuel. The lack of clarity became the story. Pop culture comparisons poured in. People said this felt like the moment before a plot twist in a docuseries where everything looks normal until episode 3. Others compared it to watching dominoes wobble without knowing which one falls next. The suspense was addictive. Brands stayed silent. Labels stayed silent. Silence became suspicious by default. In an era of instant statements, absence reads as calculation. And calculation feeds speculation like gasoline. What made this phase dangerous wasn't misinformation. It was imagination. The internet filled gaps with theories that felt cinematic. And once a narrative feels cinematic, people start believing they're watching history unfold. This wasn't about proving anything. It was about destabilizing certainty. About reminding fans that the industry's clean success stories might not be as simple as they were sold. And even if none of it is true, the conversation already did damage, because reputations don't crack when accusations hit. They crack when trust gets questioned. By the end of this phase, one thing was clear. The story had outgrown 50 Cent. It had outgrown the alleged leak. It had become a cultural event, one where everyone felt like something big was circling, even if nobody could see it yet. When the noise stopped screaming, it didn't disappear. It settled. And that's when things got uncomfortable. Because loud rumors burn fast, but quiet suspicion sticks around like smoke in a room long after the fire alarm shuts off. The alleged Netflix leak didn't need confirmation to leave a mark. The damage came from the pause, the waiting, the feeling that something had shifted even if nobody could fully explain what. This wasn't about proof anymore. It was about perception. And perception is the most dangerous courtroom of all. No rules, no burden of evidence, just vibes, memory, and timing. And right now, the timing felt brutal. Jay-Z's legacy didn't crumble. That's important. Legends don't fall overnight. But it did feel heavier, like a crown suddenly weighed more than it used to. Conversations around his name subtly changed. Interviews were rewatched differently. Old partnerships were discussed with new curiosity, not accusation curiosity. And curiosity is how myths start getting audited. Supporters doubled down, reminding everyone that rumors are not reality, that speculation isn't journalism, that success attracts narratives whether deserved or not. They weren't wrong, but they were also reacting to something deeper than gossip. They were reacting to uncertainty. Meanwhile, critics didn't claim guilt. They asked questions. And questions don't have to accuse to destabilize. They just have to linger. Why now? Why this timing? Why the sudden re-emergence of old industry conversations? None of those questions prove anything, but together they change how stories are told. 50 Cent's role in all this stayed deliberately unclear. He never stepped forward to confirm anything. He never denied anything either. He hovered in that uncomfortable space where intent is implied but never stated. That's his specialty. Pressure without fingerprints. Chaos without ownership. And the internet understood the assignment. It treated his silence like punctuation, not absence. Fans debated whether he was genuinely hinting at something bigger or simply letting the internet do what it always does best: spiral. Either way, the result was the same. The spotlight moved. The industry's response was telling. Or rather, the industry's lack of response. No sweeping statements. No urgent clarifications. Just distance. Carefully measured distance. And in a moment like this, distance reads like caution, not confidence. Brands don't like unpredictability. Labels don't like open-ended narratives. Platforms don't like heat without clarity. And while no deals were publicly pulled, the temperature in the room changed. Quietly, subtly, the kind of shift you don't see in headlines but feel behind the scenes. Fans noticed it too. Not in announcements, but in tone. Less celebration, more analysis. Less myth-building, more skepticism. Jay-Z didn't lose respect, but the conversation around him became more layered, more complex, less fairy tale. This is how reputational gravity works. Nothing explodes, it bends. And once it bends, it doesn't fully snap back into place. The alleged documentary leak, real or not, did something irreversible. It reframed the idea of untouchability. Diddy's situation already cracked that illusion. This moment widened the crack. It reminded people that power doesn't erase scrutiny. It delays it. Hip-hop culture thrives on narratives, rise stories, redemption arcs, untouchable empires. But every era eventually hits a moment where the audience starts asking who controls the story and why. This felt like one of those moments. What happens next is the most dangerous part. Because now, anything new gets interpreted through this lens. Any future documentary, any interview clip, any offhand comment, everything becomes context. Jay-Z doesn't need to respond. Responding would legitimize speculation. Silence is often the smartest move. But silence also leaves space. And space is where the internet builds theories. As for 50 Cent, his reputation as hip-hop's chaos conductor only solidified. Whether this was intentional or opportunistic doesn't even matter anymore. The perception is locked in. When the industry shakes, people expect him to be nearby, smiling. This chapter didn't end careers. It didn't confirm scandals. It didn't deliver answers. What it did was far more disruptive. It reminded everyone that legacies are stories and stories can be re-edited. The audience isn't asking for cancellation. They're asking for clarity. And clarity is rare in an industry built on branding and silence. The scariest part is this. Once people start watching success stories like documentaries instead of fairy tales, the tone never fully goes back. This wasn't the end of anything. It was the moment the credits almost rolled and then cut to black. Because whether this story grows louder or fades away, one thing is already true. So now the question isn't whether anything has been proven, because nothing has. The real question is why this story felt believable enough to shake the internet in the first place. Because rumors don't go viral on energy alone. They go viral when timing, history, and silence line up just right. And now it's on you. Do you think 50 Cent is genuinely hinting at something bigger? Or is this just elite-level chaos marketing at work? Is the Netflix angle smoke with no fire? Or the early trailer to a documentary nobody's ready for yet? Drop your take in the comments. Like the algorithm is the jury. No fence sitting. This is hip-hop pick a side. If this breakdown hit harder than a leaked group chat at AM, smash that like button like it owes you money. If you're tired of watered-down takes, polite industry silence, and stories that stop right before they get uncomfortable, hit subscribe like you actually want the truth with the gloves off, because around here, we don't do fairy tales, we don't do PR spin, and we definitely don't pretend the industry is cleaner than it is. When whispers start sounding like warnings, we don't look away, we zoom in. Scandals don't end. They evolve. Stories don't disappear. They get rebranded. And trust me, this won't be the last time a legacy gets side-eyed by the internet. So stay locked in, stay skeptical, and stay ready, because the next chapter usually drops when nobody's watching. This isn't gossip. This isn't coincidence. This is the uncomfortable space where power, perception, and pressure collide. And if you want the stories they hesitate to finish, you already know where to find them. Truth Tattle.